In this session, we will be discussing the omnichannel experience and looking at strategies for how to integrate sales channels both on and offline to provide a seamless and unified shopping experience. Joining me today, we have Pradeep Sada, co-founder of Watcho, Jack Allen, website manager and recently promoted director of Allen & Sidaway, and Steve Irvine, director of Lion Sorbet. Welcome. Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. Pradeep, I'll come to you first, if that's okay. Can you talk to us a little bit about your omnichannel strategy? How has implementing this impacted your overall customer experience? And how do you measure its effectiveness?
Good one. So for us, yes, we have store presence, and with omnichannel, we have tried to offer. So at the moment, customers do browse things online. Be it sitting in the bedroom or sitting in the sofa, whatever. So we want to be accessible to them, whether they're accessing via desktop or a mobile phone. So we've tried to do a mobile-first strategy and have products seen or visible on the website where they can browse and shortlist the products. And they the big one is the buy now and collect in store. So we've given that seamless experience where they can browse the products online and then come into the store to collect that product. They can do store collection from the same day, which is what they like. In terms of how we measure, yes, we have some digital tracking tools, but most importantly, as they come in, if customers show us that this is the product they've seen on the website, that's an easy tracking way. The way is you can use the tracking algorithms to see when people have clicked on the directions for the store after seeing the product. That's how we sort of measure how many people have come in from seeing the product in store and then checking it out in the store.
Mm-hmm. Excellent, thank you. Jack, anything to add on that? Talk about your strategy?
Absolutely. So a lot of what Pradeep said is dead on. Having that click and collect option is paramount to getting as much turnover as possible back into your store. Having that website as your shop window, your first point of contact before anyone even sees your store is perfect. So having that as a mirror of your in-store experience is key. Whether that's for your stock, for your story, through your visuals that you're using on that site, anything that can mirror what you're using in store can only help what you're doing. In terms of what we do in terms of tracking that, again, asking customers, if they say they've seen this online, great, a very easy way to track, but not always doable. You can't always get the information or the answer from every customer, but conversion rates, amount you're selling, actual transaction numbers, more so than the actual amount, the monetary value, but the actual amount of stock that you're selling as well, can help you to see how well your website strategy is improving and helping your in-store strategy.
Excellent, thank you. I just want to pull on a point that you said there with regards to making sure that your experience online is the same experience that a customer has in store. And I think that's a really important point, because a lot of the time we take for granted what we offer a customer in store, and it isn't the same experience that they're getting when they shop online. How do you ensure that it is the same experience online that they're getting when they're in store? Or what are the common challenges you face when trying to make that experience the same?
I think the main challenge you have with that is you're not with the customer. So you have to make sure that the tone of voice and kind of both in your text and in the artwork and imagery you use mirrors what you're doing in the store. So that online experience is as close as possible to what you're offering in your store. Again, as I said, it's so hard to do that without being with the customer itself. But the closer you can get to that point, the better it will be when they eventually do come in to your store, because they already know what you're about. They already know what they're going to expect. They already know who you are and what you guys are like as a company.
Yeah, I would say very well said, Jack. What I'd like to add is what we see is what's the personality of the store. What do we stand for? Is it more personable brand? Is it trusted? Is it what do we offer different? And then how can we mirror that online? So that's why I would urge on to find out 5 key attributes of the offline presence, and then bring that branding, positioning, and tone of voice into the online experience.
Steve?
I think one of the things that we see a lot, I mean, we're a company that so I don't have a retail presence because we help retailers build their brands. And I think probably one of the things we see the most is retailers trying to do too many things. So it's kind of, for me, it's like knowing your limits of your company, the limits of your staff, and what you can actually do across all your channels. Because if you're trying to, everybody's trying to build every social media platform, they're trying to build it on mobile, on desktop, they're trying to do email marketing, but all these different platforms, and they're kind of not doing all of them well. They're doing 1 or 2 of them really well. So I think sometimes it's better to lower it slightly, do less on, well, in fact, almost delete some of them and maybe keep the information correct on them, so if people find you, they've got touch points to get to sort of either sell or buy something, but really focus on the things that are going to make a biggest impact on your business. And we can do that through data. So if you know that email marketing's working for you, if you know that Instagram's working for you, leverage those first and build them so that they work really effectively for you before jumping in and spreading yourself across 10 different things where none of them really work. So I think it's quite important to do that.
Great, thank you. And a question to all of you, I guess. What are some of the key differences in consumer behaviours that we see across the various channels? And to Pradeep and Jack, how do you tailor your approach for the difference in behaviours across the different channels?
For us, it's a strange one. With us, obviously, we are a majority fine jewellery business, and consumers want to try these things on. They want to be able to see them. They want to be able to feel them before making that purchase of many thousands of pounds it could be. So obviously with your in-store business, that's easy. They come in, they can try it on, they can do whatever they need to do before making that decision to purchase. Online, they don't have that same luxury. So for us, it's a case of putting as much imagery as possible onto that site, whether that is our website, whether that is Instagram, whether that is Facebook, whatever it is. If it's even Google Shopping, as much imagery as possible so the customer can see exactly what they're buying before they just make that decision to buy it. We've also had to adjust our policies so they're different in store and online. So our online policy is quite heavily to allow refunds, which in store we try to step away from and offer other means of the customer getting their money back, whether that's a gift card or credit note or whatever it is, exchange. But online, that's more difficult. So we've had to adjust our in-store policy to be different to our online policy to allow for that different consumer behaviour, which does work. There's never been any issues for any customers experiencing different policies. They understand and they got on with it basically.
Thank you. Pradeep, anything to add on that?
What same experience is what you said. In our case, the shop has been there in that location for over 40 years, so people trust the place. A lot of time people walk into the store without even reading the name because they've been there, so many times. Our website name is different to the shop name, and the website is different. So there we have to build that trust. In the store, it's easy. In the face-to-face environment, people, it's easy to build that trust. On the website side, we have to bring in the story, mention the add-ons, what they get, and explain how and try and build that trust using extended things like giving something extra to them like an extended warranty or giving that peace of mind in terms of payment, because for online people are a little bit skeptical, especially if they've not seen you or heard from you before, or if they've not had a good experience from another place before. So we have to address that skepticalness with a bit more flexible policy, and help with the customer.
I think all I was going to add to that was, and it's interesting what you're saying about, both of you on the difference between online and in store. I mean, I think when it comes to more online purchases, I think most retailers need something like 20 or 30 touch points from a customer before they're even ready to buy. And I think that's and it sounds quite a lot, doesn't it? That, but that might be across all of your different media, from Instagram and so on. And I think it's interesting what you were saying about changing your policies online and in store, because they're very different customers, and like you were saying, in store brings in, there's a history there, there's a relationship there. Online doesn't have that. So how can we quickly, well, not even quickly, but how can we over time build that trust and confidence and through authority to kind of get them to, find your product, well, not just your products, but your business attractive enough to buy. And so I think, and also giving each platform as well the space it needs to and the attention it needs. I think we see a lot with some of our customers where they're treating every platform exactly the same. They're doing email marketing and they're just throwing that same content onto Instagram and onto TikTok and maybe onto LinkedIn, but they're again different markets, and I think each one needs to be respected in its own way. So if you want to build a big Instagram following, you have to be engaging. If you want to build a great email marketing following, you have to change the content and make it probably more offer-based or authority-based to get them customers to feel the value in the work. So I think there's a lot of work you have to do in each one, in each area, to make it work for your business.
Yeah. Great, thank you. And just touching on one of the points that you made earlier in relation to your branding and your brand voice, how do you personalize customer interactions to make sure that you have a consistency in relation to the online channels that you are on, to Pradeep?
So in our case, we sort of identified what do we stand for, looked at what customers say about us, looked at about what reviews they have left or what emails they have sent. A few things that come up is what when we can do a sentiment analysis. There are tools available where you feed in the reviews and they tell you what the top sentiment has been based on a set of, say, last 100 reviews. So a few things that come out for us was we come across as warm, welcoming, and for each business it would be so it could be different. So if whatever that analysis tells you, so it is warm, welcoming, personable, bit more flexible, going that extra mile for customers. So whatever the sentiment analysis comes on, I would say then map that into the next stage was how do we what are the keywords that translate that sentiment, and then how can we, and then we include that in the content, and then what are our key touch points, be it email is the one of the main ones, so is the phone call. So email could be replied to the email, not necessarily just a newsletter, but email, then reply to phone calls or our social media posts, and what are the keywords or lines we need to include which also communicate the same content or same tone of voice. That's been our plan and strategy.
Jack?
For us, it's really simple. We just have 2 or 3 people who really know the business, and they put out all the content. They create all the content, all the text. They'll reply to the emails. They'll reply to the reviews, the whatever it might be. It's having those 2 or 3 core team members that really know the business inside out, and they are the ones that take the lead on all of it.
Excellent, thank you. So taking a turn and looking ahead, I guess, Steve, I'll direct this one to you if that's okay. How and in what ways do you see omnichannel strategies evolving in the future? What do you see? What do you see coming?
I think it's quite exciting actually. Well, I mean, at the moment, with a lot of the retailers we work with, there's this huge problem with software and none of them working together. Whether it's their CRM system, whether it's their stock management, their website sales, in-store customer data, and so on. It's just this massive issue. And we're seeing it more and more and more. And, you know, a lot of companies are trying really hard to fix it and to build better integrations. And that is going to come, you know, and I think with even AI, you know, Search GPT is coming out very soon. We're going to have Apple Intelligence is coming out in the next update, you know, so we're going to start seeing these beautiful integrations that just make things effortless and easy to work. And so that it gives businesses less of a headache trying to manage who the customers are, what their behaviors are, you know, how, and bringing in that the automation as well. And there's already, you know, we work with Shopify, for instance, which is an e-commerce platform, and already the automations built into that are amazing. And if you, but they're not overly easy to set up. You need to kind of understand it a bit. And I think once that becomes easier, once you set up a website and say, right, I want to do this, this, and this, and it'll be more question based. I think it'll be like, I need to do this for my customers. Can you do this? And the software will just say, yes, we've already done it, or we've already set it up for you. So I think there's a lot. So I think that's where the future lies in omni-channel, if you want to put it that way, is that it's going to be far more automated, far more integrated, and just effortless to use. And I can't see that being more than a year or two down the line.
Brilliant, thank you. Okay, both Jack and sorry.
What I'm gonna add is what I see coming in terms of the omni-channel experience is, at the moment, if you want a product advice, it's much easier to go to shop, speak to an expert, and you get that advice. Whereas online, you get all the specifications, you get the product description, but it's very difficult for a user, a consumer, to then try and make a decision out of all those plethora of information. And I feel using AI, there will be a lot more advice-driven content or advice-driven AI that would come in based on what user has or what user has browsed. There would be an expert advice, just like what you would probably get in store. I think that's coming. Maybe it may take a year or two, perhaps, but it's coming.
It's the power of AI, isn't it? Excellent, thank you. Okay, so both Jack and Pradeep, as independent businesses, how will you be pairing your strategies going in for peak season? And do you think this differs from any of the larger multiples?
Well, we've already started preparing. Is the answer to that? I'd say we probably are preparing for this peak season for a good 6 months of the year. We probably started in June, and hopefully by the time peak season starts, we'll be able to relax a little bit and just let the season take us. But in terms of preparation, what don't we do? A lot of it is store-based work, updating prices, updating stock levels, making sure everything's there in place. Our social media will be in the next, probably by the end of this month, will be in place, ready to go. Our emails are already in place, ready to go. And then it'll just be a case of putting the windows in and seeing what happens.
Excellent. Thank you.
For us, I think it'll be more about how can we tell a story, how can we romanticize the product via an online channel, especially email newsletters or social media, to feel that festive period, and so that they're ready to buy in for the festive period.
Thank you. Okay, Steve, any quick wins that you can give to our listeners here of anything they should be doing ahead of peak?
I mean, to be fair, I think I'd written like a load of things that you can do, but I think what it actually comes down to is the basics. And I don't want to I think you can look at all these, these crazy things that are going on, like AR and VR and pop-up shops and, things like that. And they're amazing. There's some great technology. Even, I don't know if anybody saw those fans in the digital zone. They're just don't stick your fingers in them, by the way, like someone did a minute ago. And I think they're amazing. I think there's some really cool experiences coming out for retailers now. But I think but genuinely, I think that, you've got to step back a little bit and start looking at the other foundations of your business and, looking at the customer journey. If you're getting traffic into your website, is it dropping off? And if it is, where? Are there things that are stopping people buying? Because, like I'm working with a retailer in America at the minute where, their sales are insane online, but they're so... We've just done like a month-long project on just optimizing how the customer goes through parts of the website and how they end up going back and forward to end up choosing the product they want. And we've just done even subtle changes, like tiny things you wouldn't even think of, like changing the words on the buttons or adding buttons in that give them more information about a product. We're seeing huge changes in their sales and going forward.
I think testing that user journey as well is really important.
It's massive, yeah.
Just to see and empathise with your consumer, to see what experience they have online, can often just put yourself in the shoes of your customer, can't it?
Yeah.
I say that's key. Like for this year, for this peak season, do the basics right. You're completely right. Do the basics right. Get them right. Concentrate on what you do best. And if you want to then improve, expand to new channels, wait until next year. Get them right this year and expand on them next year.
Great. And I guess just one final question from me for all of you. If there are retailers out there who are looking to either start or improve their omni-channel strategy, what advice would the three of you give to those retailers?
I'm happy to start. I mean, my company work with many different types of retailers, from those that are starting out, have got nothing, to those that are, they've been around for 20 years and they've got massive budgets and they're totally different. If you're starting out, or even if you're still, you've been in business for a few years, going back to what we were saying earlier about the basics, cover off your kind of your main marketing points. Great products, great product stories, great imagery, unique imagery if you can get it. I know there's a lot of manufacturers out there that provide great imagery, but try and buy your own or invest in your own, even your own videos. And it doesn't even have to be that amazing quality. We see huge differences in sales just by having videos of rings on a finger, in amongst your standard photography, because it brings a bit of a human touch to it. And I think especially when it's online sales, you have to get this journey right. You have to give people enough information to want to make a sale. And the amount of websites I've seen when they're selling a 10 grand ring and they've got one image or two, and it just isn't. It's not that it's not good enough. It's just there's so many more opportunities out there to make a better impact.
I think you've covered it well there. I would say if you haven't got a website, get a website. If you have got a website and it's not transactional, make it transactional. That's the starting point, is having that shop window to your company, to your stores, and then from there you can, the sky's the limit. Like you said, making sure your imagery's right, whether that's taken from yourself or it's professionally done. Anything that you can add to what you're already providing, especially in terms of just your singular products, will help your customers make that decision. And anything that sets you apart from people that aren't doing it, not correctly, but not optimized, again, will set you apart and hopefully mean that they will come to you instead of someone else. And that goes for everything. That's not just for your website. That's your social medias. That's your emails. If you've got the ability to segment your emails, so they're going to people that email matters to, as opposed to just sending a mass email to everyone that you have on your list. Again, that it helps your customer to feel that they're special to you. They know I brought this item. That's why they contact me about something similar, not just, I'm a woman that had their ears pierced with me. why am I getting an email about some random brand that doesn't relate to that customer? Yes, they might buy it, but they don't. There's no special. They don't feel special from that email. Whereas if they brought an engagement ring from you and you send a follow-up email saying, "Oh, come back in. Let's check the clause for you. Let's give you a free cleaning." That makes them feel special. That makes them want to come back to you more and more, and you become their jeweler as opposed to just a shop they've come and bought something from.
That's absolutely spot on, I would say. Uh, and another area which is often underutilized, especially going into peak season, as we're all busy, is optimizing the Google My Business profile. Using there is an addition to add not only images but videos at the moment, and the page gets ranked better. And the other advantage is by default Google will give a little priority to businesses, to a person searching in your own area, even if your marketing budget is very low. So that's one area I would really recommend looking into now.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you all very much for joining me this afternoon. Does anybody in the audience have any questions that they want to put to the panel? Thank you.
Biggest challenge?
Thanks, Pradeep.
Hear me. What's been your biggest challenge to execute that omni-channel experience for your customers?
Time. Time is the biggest issue. For us, I am the only person full-time on our website. We have one person full-time on our social medias, and then we kind of have a couple people that do the emails, but not full-time. And it comes down to time. We have plans to have multiple segmented emails that go out to multiple different segments of our database. I have plans of online specials, online only brands, online only events. But again, it comes down to having the time to be able to set these up and push forwards with them. And again, if you only have one person doing these things, like we said before, stick to those basics. And if you get those basics right, then you can only grow from there, and hopefully to a point where you can have more people to help you and push out exactly what you need to push out.
I think what you say is spot on. So there will always be a constraint on time. So identify what you are good at and do that first. Be it Instagram, be it YouTube, be it TikTok, be it Facebook, or a website, or an email newsletter. And once one of them is set in stone and doing very well, the others can piggyback on that.